What's going on, guys? So we've been putting together some of these top 5 lists that are pretty popular around this time of year. Some of them are reflective over 2018, and then some of them are kind of predictive or kind of future telling, forward looking in 2019. And this is going to be one of those pieces of content. We're going to be talking about arguably one of the most popular trends in kind of consumer packaged goods, fast moving consumer goods, retail, all of that. And that's around kind of Amazon flooding the market with kind of like their private labels, exclusive labels, our brands, whatever you want to call them. So this piece of content is gonna be kind of like my top 5 Amazon exclusive brands that you need to be paying attention to in 2019. Now, if you're not following along all that closely and you haven't even realized that Amazon is kind of going all in on private label, I'll make sure that one of those pop-ups happen above me. It'll go back to some previous videos that I did on these subjects. I also put together a comprehensive list of all of the categories that I cover: functional food, functional beverage, nutritional supplements. I put together kind of a list of all of those private label brands because they're not, necessarily they're not called like Amazon this or Amazon that. So kind of highlighted all of those. I'll make sure that that's linked below. It's a Medium article. It just kind of gives you guys some links. You guys can look over some of those private labels, see how these manufacturers are building them for Amazon, give you guys a good kind of list to just see how things are progressing. And I'll be updating that as I see more and more brands hit the market. So that's going to be kind of a living, breathing article. It's not going to be something that is not updated. So regardless of when you watch this video, that article is going to be probably up to date within a few weeks. This is kind of like a hard video to make because of the Amazon Accelerator Program, private label program, only being in existence over the last 3 months or so. It hasn't hit full stride at this point. We're still only getting a few participants right now just because they're going through the application process, going through probably thousands of applicants for this program, reaching out to those brand manufacturers, kind of working with them to decide, what they want to offer within the program. So we're going to see a massive explosion of this over in 2019, but I can only kind of work off of the 30 or so brands that have been introduced over the first 3 months. So I am kind of just basing it on that. I'm not going to talk about any brands that maybe I'm aware of, that I work with, that are going to be in 2019. I'm only going to be talking about existing ones that have launched before the end of 2018. Just to kind of cover a small background on Amazon and just kind of the private label world in general, they're seeing a massive growth in the United States right now. It's kind of always been a big part of areas outside of the United States, but because of kind of the Great Recession and people having to make that quote unquote kind of decision, a trade down decision to buy a private label over a branded product, what ended up happening was a lot of the consumers realized that the products were just as well made, the quality was there, or the taste was there, whatever it was that people were trying to seek. They noticed that the vast majority of those private labels were a good substitute and much cheaper. So that's where a lot of this growth has been fueled over the last decade or so, and it's just kind of kept building up as some of these retailers have realized that they need to insulate their business. They need to create some extra margin in their business because of having to compete in a much stronger market right now and having to spend more to acquire and kind of retain customers. So this is going to be a trend not just on Amazon, but I think Amazon, because of the uniqueness of the program and how they're asking brand manufacturers to kind of be a part of this, not just kind of spec out work and say, hey, we'd love to build these 5-6 products. Here's what we're looking for. Please make this for us. It's kind of adding them into the creativity process, having them be a part of it at a much deeper level. And like I said, if you guys are interested in kind of the deep dives on those types of topics, I do have previous videos Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel. I'm going to always be kind of updating that and kind of creating more and more videos around Amazon. It's just natural. Amazon is kind of a fast-moving retailer that's always kind of taking massive leaps in the market that I think people need to be paying attention to. If you own a business or you work in a consumer packaged goods business or retailer or anything, you need to be paying attention to the market. You need to be paying attention to what's going on in the market. And I'm going to be kind of always trying to do my best to distill down a lot of that noise in the news, mass media, everything, and give you guys the straight facts, the facts that you guys need to keep educated in your job or in your business. Let's kind of get into this top 5 private label, Amazon private labels that I think you guys need to be paying attention to. And these are going to be kind of around the categories that I focus on. So the functional foods, functional beverages, nutritional supplements, those types of areas, those are going to be where I focus at. There's hundreds of private labels across all of the different categories on Amazon at this point. If you are looking at maybe a apparel line or house goods or something like that, I'm sure there's other thought leaders or people that are putting out content that can kind of give you guys a good insight into those areas, but I'm going to focus on the ones that I kind of know and live, breathe, and kind of understand from a very detailed level. One more point, I'm not going to talk about Amazon Elements. I have another video that I talked a little bit about why I think Amazon Elements private label, especially with some of their vitamins and everything that they're putting out, why that's important to the industry. I'm not going to go into that. I think a video like this is more useful to focus on private labels that aren't called Amazon X, because anybody can kind of pick those out of the bunch. I think that I want to kind of go into ones that I think are a little bit more important or a little bit more shaded or hidden that you guys wouldn't necessarily know are Amazon brands right out the gate. So first one is kind of be arguably maybe even the biggest one that has been seen within this categories that I focus on. And this is going to be Solimo. So Solimo has honestly a ton of listings. I think 500 plus listings at this point. And that's with a bunch of variants within the listing. So, I don't know how many thousands of SKUs at this point that this brand, private label brand, has. They sell everything from coffee, vitamins, functional foods like protein cookies, but they also kind of cover all kinds of other, consumer packaged goods and fast moving consumer goods products like toothbrushes and diapers and trash bags. So they're kind of going all over the board. And I think Amazon is honestly looking at them to be kind of the target kind of clone up and up with Amazon. So you're going to kind of see them, I think, just keep expanding out their categories. What made this brand like most interesting for me was, about 6 months ago, I started paying attention to this brand because they had some huge growth within their coffee pod business. And I think they had 2 of the top 50, 75 grocery, like every grocery category. They usually have 2 of their SKUs within those top 75. So they're having a massive amount of sales velocity with that. I know another analyst firm spoke about, they thought, you can estimate that at somewhere around $60,000 every week off of one of those SKUs. And that was, I think, in Q2. So they've obviously seen a lot more growth since that point. They're looking at more, probably just on their coffee business, somewhere around $10 million. So that's year 1 out the gate. So you can just see how kind of quick things can go within these private labels. Now, to shift from arguably the biggest one to one of the smallest ones is a company called DEDlift. What I like about DEDlift is it's kind of the opposite of what all these brands are doing on the Amazon private label front. Currently you have one SKU, a pre-workout product. You have one flavor, so you don't have a ton of different things right now, but you have them following a lot of the trends in sports nutrition. You have transparency going on. You have a pretty well-dosed product, probably more aligned with, in terms of private label approach, more like premium formulation. I think it's just interesting to kind of pay attention to them because though I assume there's going to be some more product launches over 2019, maybe even like a refresh in packaging, but I think you're not going to see them come out with 100, 200 products over the next year. And I think it's a kind of an opposite approach to what Amazon's kind of pushing these private labels to do. They want to have these manufacturers launch as many products as possible, get as much information out there so they can collect data on customers and transactions. This brand is kind of doing it the opposite way. They're saying, hey, we're going to kind of slowly put this out there. We're going to try to follow along with some of the trends and kind of come up with products that are well made and products that we think are going to work well long term in this program. And you can see that with some very well received feedback loops with the reviews. You also see them outperforming a lot of the market within their one SKU. You have their merchandising ranking up very high, comparable to brands that are much bigger than them. They obviously know what they're doing at that brand, and hopefully we're going to see some different movements that is worth paying attention to in 2019. Now, kind of jumping back into another bigger one, we have Own Power, which is kind of more like a traditional sports nutrition brand, one that you'd see in a specialty channel, vitamin shop. You'd see at a GNC, and I'll speak about GNC here in a second. But Own Power looks, honestly, when it launched 4 or 5 months ago, my initial thought was it was a Nutrabolt brand. It looked like the old kind of core performance line that they used to have. Maybe they still have the line, but it kind of had a lot of the branding elements that looked like that. Now, from information that I'm getting from different sources, I think it's actually a Glanbia built brand. It's not a Nutrabolt built brand. Or it's some type of arrangement. I think most of their products are getting made by Glanbia at this point, or Arizona Nutritional Supplements, which also makes the vast majority of the Amazon Elements line. This brand has kind of put out a ton of different products lately, which is right in line with what Amazon's looking for them to do. I think at this point there's 40 plus products. It's also following a lot of the trends within the industry, so it's somebody close to the industry. You have informed choice, so making sure there's an element of the safety. They have transparent labels. They have just kind of a lot of just general trends they're hitting on. The products are pretty well made. I haven't been able to taste any of them. I'm not sure. Some of the feedback loops that are on Amazon seems pretty positive, but I think it's one of those brands you need to be paying attention to, especially if it's run by one of the big dogs. It's one of those things that you need to really pay attention to, some of the moves they're making for 2019. Like I said, I touched on GNC, and GNC actually has private labels for Amazon exclusively. So everybody knows that GNC's business is about 50% private label in their stores or online. So they're really focused on private label business themselves within their stores and kind of their ecosystem. But they know that with digital channel, first product searches seem to be the winning metric at this point. So if a lot of the first product searches are going to Amazon, you want to stay as close to possible as Amazon. You want to be a part of whatever programs they have. So if they have a private label program and you are extremely well versed on private labels, why not, create exclusive private labels for Amazon, correct? I mean, it makes sense for me. It makes sense for them to kind of hang on longer. And this is not going to, a lot of people, when I talk about a specific positive or new thing that maybe a big company is doing, a lot of people always just kind of always use an easy kind of rebuttal and saying, well, this isn't going to save GNC. There's a lot of things that are going to need to happen to save anybody that's struggling in the market right now, but it's about extending your runway. It's about testing. It's about creating different feedback loops for different ideas and kind of keeping open to the trends that are happening in the market. And I like them offering private labels in this Amazon Accelerator program. They've already been selling on Amazon for quite a while. They sell a lot of their private labels that they sell in the stores already on there. But these are exclusive ones. They're called Challenge by GNC and then Informed Nutrition by GNC. And these are exclusive to Amazon. These are not sold in stores. This is not sold in franchises, international. This isn't sold anywhere. It's only sold on Amazon. Finally, my kind of number 5 private label, Amazon private label to pay attention to is a company called Revly. So Revly has about 40 listings right now. They were really focused on vitamins, minerals, those types of things. They are kind of expanding their line out recently, having some protein powders. What I like about this brand is that it looks appealing to me. I enjoy the look of it. It does not look like a private label to me, which I think benefits anybody that's creating these private labels within this program. You need to, and this goes with anybody's creating private labels in their retailer things should not be called your retailer X or whatever. These things should be hidden in a way that that doesn't create kind of purchase hurdles by maybe people that have negative thoughts on private labels. But this Revly brand looks very well made. Some of the products they're creating have some unique spins to them that work, I think, fairly well. Seems like most of their launches have been, pretty consistent. A lot of their listings are well created. It just seems like whoever's behind this brand does know the Amazon platform very well, is kind of putting out its best foot forward. And I think it's important. I think at this point, I think it's a really good kind of private label brand to pay attention to in 2019. Try to give you guys a good kind of slice of different size brands, smaller, bigger brands. There's some other ones that I think are good to pay attention to. Like I said, there's a link below on a Medium article that kind of lists every one of the private labels that are kind of on Amazon at this point, so you guys can take a look at all of those and kind of give your, get a good kind of macro look at how all of these brands are getting put together, because you might be a brand manufacturer that is going to get into this private label program, and it's good to see what your competition is. Maybe you are not going to get into this private label program and you're going to compete against these brands. You need to obviously see what they're doing so you can kind of position yourself defensively or offensively to combat some of these brands. But regardless, 2019 is going to be huge for private label with Amazon, with all retailers. It's going to be one of those things that you need to be paying attention to. Just to kind of give some final thoughts, Amazon is, like I said at the beginning of the video, they're going to be going all in on this. There's going to be 4 or 5x what we see right now, probably with brands by the end of 2019 when I'm making a video like this for 2020. But what I'd like to see is, them expanding out some of their more grocery items. Most of the private labels are in very easy areas to kind of create. I'd like to see some ones that maybe are more in line with, some of the trends that are going on with functional foods and functional beverages, maybe even some energy drinks and things like that. I think it'd be interesting to see if an Amazon private label energy drink could compete against some of the big players in that market. I think that'd be fun to see. I'd like to see some unique applications for some convenient foods, but see what happens throughout 2019. I think it'll be exciting to see regardless. If you guys have gotten this far in this video, I would really appreciate the thumbs up button. It's right down below, very easy to click on that. It helps me out a ton. It helps YouTube understand that this content was useful to you and that they should spread this out to more people. And if you guys haven't done this so far, I would love for you guys to be a part of this community, subscribe to me. But I want to thank you guys for taking some time out of your day to listen to me on this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.